All right, well, we're live. Joel, how you going?
Hi, how you doing? Yep, I'm Joel Mills. I'm iLearning UK, and I've been helping Elfie out with a few ideas on this. So I'm just a guest today, but nice to hear everybody.
Guest, not guest. This is a mentor stream. There is no guest. There's only mentors. So, so today we're going to have a bit of a talk about how to teleport students around Minecraft maps, specifically in terms of Playcraft Learn and how we could use this sort of stuff in lessons. So first things first, sign behind you, or board poster to side, yeah, behind you. Sort of talks through around the basic command syntax for teleporting students around, and that's what all of the teleportations are based off today in some way or another. And then
it's probably worthwhile mentioning the tilde sign there for
people
who don't know what tilde means. Tilde means that your position is relative to a particular block. So tilde is exactly the same as the original block from where you're teleporting. So tilde +1, tilde 2, tilde 3 will teleport you in the X direction, in a positive direction. 3 blocks. They're non-explicit, I should say.
Yeah. And then the modifiers. So we've got selectors here. So selector 1, and selectors are things like at all play or at nearest player, at all players, at entities, at self, or at random players. And you can specialize or signify more detail than just the nearest player. And that uses these modifiers. So if you know names, you can actually do it by name, by their type, what sort of radius they're in, their experience level. Again, radius and experience level there in terms of maximum. So there's a lot of things you can do to choose who is going to teleport, and we'll run you through some of the, I guess, ways to capitalize on these kind of selection modifiers to get kids moving the way you want, or only the kids moving that you want, I guess is probably the best way to say it. All right, anything else you think we need to add?
No, I think that's good.
All right, so let's go over here to the basic teleport command. So for this first batch, I've got NPCs beside them all. Yep, but you're going to talk about this sign.
Now, the one-off teleportations, that's how we've described these. So.
Yeah. So this is really for... yeah, I mean, a one-off teleportation doesn't mean these can only be used once. It just means it's you need to keep coming back here to make this happen, and it requires interaction from the students or the people getting teleported. But yeah, I've got NPCs beside each of these here, which have the same basic command, and I've put a little bit of text in them. So if or when we share this map, you can have a look at that. But this first command is just basically teleport the nearest player at the same location X up 5 blocks, so 5 blocks positive on the Y, and at the same location there. So there are pros and cons to this kind of action here. So Joel, if you stay there and I press it, so if I think I'm going to get teleported right now, you can see that it's in fact not me that gets teleported. So that's sort of one of the
to the command block, isn't it?
Yes. So that's sort of one of the disadvantages of using that kind of command. And the same thing.
And also, when you've got a class of 20 all trying to press the same button, they'll all stand here and they'll all get in the way, and nobody can press it, and nobody knows what's going on. So just
and random
big
people.
Classes, that can be an issue.
So I'm going to show you how to do. So in the NPC, if you go to advanced settings, you can see the command there. It's exactly the same command, but this one doesn't have a button in it. And what this tends to do is it confuses kids. I did this in a map of mine, and I watched kids go through this. And if you open up the NPC dialog box when you're not in World Builder, you get this. And what I didn't do when I did this with my map was I didn't actually stipulate that they had to close this dialog box. So my NPC dialogue was, "Oh, congratulations! Now you're part of Group 1." and then that was it. They would just stand there. So, well, you've actually got to close it, and now that'll teleport Joel again because Joel's closer. So what I recommend is we use a button to do that from now on. And I think this will be me this time, yeah. So use a button to signify and make it that active press for students, I guess, to get teleported. So I'm going to go back to, not QB, World Builder. All right, so disadvantages is one player at a time, and it's the nearest player to the location. So still useful if you've got limited number of students or if you're not going to have large groups at any given time. But as you can see, I didn't press the button, Joel did, and I'm consistently getting teleported now because I'm closest to this block here. And it's worth mentioning too, because it'll come up over on the other side there, that it's the relative coordinates here. They don't have to be relative; they can be explicit, but they're relative to the command block, not to the player. So we will always get teleported 5 blocks above the command block, not 5 blocks above where we are, if that makes sense.
Yep.
All right. So that's sort of pros and cons of that one. So let's scoot over here and have a talk about how can we make that a little bit better. And this is sort of taking that iterative step towards how do we make this work with groups of students. So Joel, you said that's no good for large groups of students because they'll all be standing really close and nobody will be able to know what's going on. So this is the first step to describe a selector. So do you want to have a talk about the selector in there and what it does?
Yeah, the selector in this one's got a radius limiter of it, and the way we've visualized that is with red wool blocks down here, so that you can see the radius that the person has to be standing within in order for the teleport to work. So if I stand away from the block and press nothing happens. Even though I'm the closest or Elfie's the closest, it doesn't have any effect because the radius effect is now limited to 1 block radius of the command block. So I've actually got to be really close, standing here, in order for that to teleport me up and drop me down again. So radius is a really great way of limiting the range of the block from having an effect. But again, it does come with complications, which we'll talk about in a moment.
All right. So radius 1 is quite close. So I can talk to this NPC and try and teleport it. It's not going to get me anywhere. I've got to get right in their face to actually be teleported. Even if I'm off over here a little bit, which isn't right in their face, I still don't get teleported. So radius 1 was this. I wouldn't use this in a classroom, or at least in this way. Because it requires, and again, you're going to get that issue with kids standing here.
You're going to get this effect where
now I can't, and now I can't interact with the NPC because Joel was in my way. So there's that sort of issue there. So if we bump that radius out to 2, you end up with a shape like this, which is better. But again, same limitations. And instead of at P, we're doing at A. Did I do that in the last one? Yes, I did. So why would we swap from the closest player to all players? Why would we do that? What's the advantage of that in this situation here?
The advantage I can see is that if you're wanting to get a group of people quickly, it only takes one person to press the button, and all of the people in that radius who are all standing here are going to be teleported up to wherever you need them to go. So if you've got that mass rush of everybody rushing to the place where they want to go to, it only takes one person to press the button and everybody in that immediate radius is going to be moved. So you're not one by one to keep pressing the button.
Yeah. And the disadvantage to this is if I am standing here and I don't want to be teleported and someone else presses that button.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm not in there. Now I am.
So I'm over here and I'm away and I can teleport Elfie.
And I end up getting teleported instead. So there's still that kind of disadvantage. I've sort of worked around this in my maps by sectioning it off. So there'd be a fence here, I guess, signifying that anyone in this location would be teleported. You can also bump the radius up to 3, which would take it out to the diagonals along that I'm pointing at on my screen now. And then again, if you just wall it off, then all students in that area will get teleported. So same deal with the NPC here, although he won't teleport me because I'm too far away. So that's sort of using the radius to sort of limit, so we can do group teleportation, but also not everyone at the same time unless they're willing and able.
You might want to switch to WB mode, because on this teleporter, on this NPC, you've got a teleport button. So press teleport when ready. So you've added the button to this one. So
yes.
Then that teleports.
Yeah. So
press the button, not
yes.
close the dialogue.
Yeah, and that I think that makes it a lot clearer for students if you actually want them to teleport. This one here is I've used this before, and it was actually at your suggestion that I use this one, Joel. I have been setting up teacher platforms, so teacher control platforms in a lot of the maps I've been releasing, and this allows us to do that quite effectively. So do you want to run us through what this is actually doing?
Yeah, this is creating an exclusion zone around the command block where it won't have any impact. So if I press the button now and I'm standing in the exclusion zone, then it won't impact on me because I'm standing there, but all my students who are still in the red zone would be teleported. So you've actually got to be in that red zone for the teleport to work. So there we go. That's working now for me.
So did I get this wrong? No, I didn't. Okay. I thought I got that wrong then. Because radius of 2 I thought would have been out to there. I thought it would have come out to there, but it obviously doesn't. Yeah, that's interesting. But I tested it. G'day, Lynn. How you going? We've got Lynn Telfer on the stream. Lynn is also a Minecraft mentor. But yeah, so this allows you as a teacher to have a teleport everyone except me standing in this little location here to a particular location. So if you're setting up an activity whereby you're teleporting all students from activity 1 to activity 2, and you want to teleport everyone at the same time except for you, and you're standing here on this command block, I can say, okay, go, and that'll teleport everyone else to that location. Again, we're just doing 5 up in the air to keep it relatively close here at the moment, but the idea being that everyone but you gets teleported. I generally make my exclusion radius of 5, so that's probably all the way out to there, because I'd sort of try and encompass the whole teacher control platform, I guess. So, all right, how we doing? Anything else there?
Yeah, I think this can obviously be, this exclusion zone can be in a room that only the teacher can get to, for example, or you could border blocks around the exclusion zone so the students can't get to the teleport, but you can, and then create a very big wide area around here where anyone coming to you, you can teleport them in a room location, for example. So this is quite useful in map building terms.
Yep, cool. All right. Now we take it up another notch. So still the same basic teleport command, but this time this is a tricky command. But you can see on the end we've still got the basic teleport ~5~. Okay, my pointer's not showing up on stream, but on the end of that line there you can see a /TP ~5~. So this execute at all players in a radius of 5. Detect 1 block below wool 14 is just a big long way of saying look at anyone within a radius of 5 and see if they're standing on red wool. If they're standing on red wool, teleport them 5 blocks in the air. Yeah? How else would you describe that?
Yeah, that's perfect way of describing it. I think it's worthwhile mentioning the execute command here allows you to string a number of things together. So this is your conditionality, if this, then that type conditionality in programming terms. So execute can string together a number of testing situations, which is really, really powerful. So,
all right, so if you stand on the red block and hit that button, you get teleported. Now, I want to note that where you got teleported to.
Yeah.
All
Yeah,
right.
I got teleported straight up and down in this instance, Alfie. Why was that? Not why didn't I get teleported straight on the block?
It's because this command is actually being run from your location. So execute at all in a radius of 5 is, and the tilde, 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 that first tilde, tilde, tilde means execute this command at your location. So at your location, it's detecting one block below for wool of color red, and then it's teleporting you 5 blocks up from your current location, from where that command or where that detect actually happened.
Yeah, so
So
let me run that
that's,
by. The app A is picking me up because I'm stood within a radius of 5. And then it's
yes,
found me, and tilde, tilde, tilde means where am I?
yes,
So it just means where am I relative to myself, which is on the spot. So it finds out where I am. And then it looks one block below me with tilde, tilde -1, looks one block below me
yeah.
and says, am I standing on a block of wool? Okay, now execute.
Now run the command. So if you stand on
Yeah,
that block and I stand on this block, so I've put red wool here as well, hit that button, you'll see we both
yeah,
got teleported straight up and we landed on
yeah,
our respective blocks.
yeah.
So that's really useful for creating, what would you call it, like a teleport location. So
Oh, this is just Star Trek, isn't it? Go and stand on your plinth, and then you'll all disappear and shimmer
yep,
and teleport to wherever you need to go. Everybody
yep.
stood on the plinth. Yeah, yeah.
So
Nice.
if you combine this with sort of the donut thing over there, what you can do is create zones of teleportation.
Yeah,
So anyone standing on red wool in this zone will go over there. Anyone standing on green wool in this zone will go over there. Anyone standing on blue wool will go over there. So it's an easy way of grouping students or getting students to group themselves and then teleporting based on the group they've chosen. That is the block of wool they're standing on.
I'm wondering if you could. I mean, you could chain these commands, of course, as well, so that you could test if you're standing on red wool, it'll teleport you to one location. But if you're standing on the green wool within the radius of 5, it'll teleport you to another location. So you could actually kind of have chained command blocks to
Yep,
teleport people depending on what block they're standing on.
yep. The other, excuse me, the other thing that you can do is you could actually chain that in an NPC. So if we go into advanced settings here, it's exactly the same command, except instead of testing for wool red, wool 14, we're testing for wool 5, which is lime green. You could actually have multiple execute, detect, wool different color TP commands in that NPC. And as soon as one student hits that teleport button, everyone standing on that particular block or that sequence of blocks or whatever would do that. So instead of having to have multiple command blocks, you could stack the commands in an NPC. And I think the maximum command stack is 16, I think people have decided at the moment. So yeah, that's another option. So you could chain commands or you could just put them all in
Mm.
an NPC there. Yeah, all right.
Okay.
Last one before we go to the next spot is sort of teleporting everyone to an explicit location. Now, this is, again, the basic. So Lynn's asking, could they also be used to answer quizzes? Each block will give you access to places depending on your answer you choose. Yeah, for sure. And then in the upcoming release, I have it on good authority that scoreboard will be included in the upcoming update to Minecraft Education Edition, which is absolutely epic and will allow easier grouping, easier tracking, and easier teleporting of students based on what they have and haven't done in your map so far. But yeah, this command is to teleport at all players to an explicit location. So when Joel or I press this button, it'll teleport all of us to these exact coordinates. So if you see my coordinates at the moment, 1976, 80, 15 up in the top leftish there. So Joel, if you want to do the honours of knock that button.
Yep. 3, 2, 1, away we go.
And shunk we go. All right, so we've changed our location to this green block here. Okay, so this set of over here is ongoing teleportation, and this is more of a passive. What did we say? We said this is more of like an ongoing passive teleportation mode. And Joel, you wanted to mention the ticking area.
It's kind of always on, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's kind of always on teleportation.
Yeah.
So it kind of happens no matter where you are. You don't have to interact with it. It'll just occur because it's set up to run all the time.
Yep. And we want to start this by talking about the ticking area command over here on this poster. Because if you are doing this, depending on which of the sort of examples you set up and run with, you may need to set yourself up a ticking area where those command blocks are, so that those command blocks are always run. So the way command blocks work in Bedrock Edition, and Redstone in general works in Bedrock Edition, is it'll work if a player is within 4 chunks. If a player is not within...
is 16 blocks by 16 blocks.
16 blocks squared. So if a player's within 64 blocks... Cubed, yes, within 64 blocks. No, not cubed. 16 by 16 square by 256 high. It's the whole...
Oh, 256. Oh, okay. Sorry. Hey,
there are sub chunks, but yeah. So it's a 16 by 16 square, and if you're within 64 blocks or thereabouts of the command block, it'll work. But as soon as there's no one within 64 blocks of that command block, it gets unloaded and will no longer run unless you have it within a ticking area. A ticking area means it will always be loaded and will always run. And we'll demonstrate that a bit later, actually, because we've got a setup for that. All right, so let's go to this first one here. So this is basically a replica of that first area radius command block over there, isn't it? So teleport anyone within a radius of 1 up 5. Only this time it's on a repeat, and it's unconditional. And I want to highlight this whole needs redstone thing. That's really useful, because you can't actually edit these command blocks when they're running. I've had many troubles with that in the past, until I worked out that if you want to edit it, you just need to be able to break that redstone so it's not consistently running. But Joel,
that was such a great help for me the other day. You said just put redstone underneath it and don't make it always redstone active.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, of course, because if you make a mistake in your code, or if it's doing something, you can actually get completely stuck. Because I had a command block which was constantly teleporting me all the time.
Yes.
And I couldn't turn it off. I couldn't stop it. And in the end, what I had to do, the way the get out was, I actually ended up changing that particular area using a fill with air to kill a command block.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. It was a real pain.
Yes, really tricky. So I've gotten into the habit of always putting redstone under them now, and making them needs redstone, because that way you can come back and edit it. So at the moment, if I wanted to say, instead of teleporting 5 blocks up, I'm going to teleport 10. It looks like I've edited it. But if I exit out and come back in, you can see it's 5 again. So it doesn't actually save that edit. But you can see that anytime Joel stands on red wool, which is that 1 block radius around it, it actually teleports us up. So it's passive. It's a walk through a doorway and get teleported to either a specific location or a relative location. I hate to bring this up, but this is kind of like the teleport block in the old Minecraft EDU, where you could just walk across it and it would relatively teleport you 3 blocks in the direction you wanted, or whatever. This is a similar setup to that.
Yeah.
All right. So Joel, I'm going to give you a block. A very nice portal, yes. I'm going to give you a block, and I'm going to give you a block of blue ice. All right, so you're my guinea pig here. If I could find blue ice, here it is. There you go. Have some blue ice. This is your block. Okay, if you want to come, where is it going to teleport you to? If you want to go 5 blocks above where you are at this point in time, so if I want you to go to a specific location, you have your very own block to do that. So if you whack that block down and stand on top of it, it'll teleport you 5 blocks up straight away. Okay, now I'm going to come over and stand on it, and I'm not as lucky as you. Okay, so again, this is one of your kind of suggestions or ideas that we've sort of hooked on here. What have you used this for in the past?
This is something I used for when students get lost, and I created a command block which picked up a specific block. I used lime stained glass, and I made sure that wherever they placed lime stained glass, it teleported them back to spawn, so that if they got lost in the world, they could always drop a lime stained glass block, jump on it, and it would then teleport them back to base, to home, to wherever you need them to be, to keep them together.
Right.
Obviously, the limitations of it are that they can't use that block in building. Particularly if this block is if the command block is in a ticking area and always on. It does need to be in a ticking area in order for it to work anywhere in the world, because otherwise, if there's nobody at spawn, it'll just stop working. But actually, I just had a thought, Elfie. What if you used a block that deteriorates like ice, so you could drop it and use it, and then actually over time it'll just melt and disappear, so you don't end up with blocks scattered all over the world. Haha.
But yes, so okay, so come over here and have a look at this one, because this is actually the command system you're talking about there. So anyone standing on lime stained glass, so that's your teleport. If anyone gets lost, they can go to spawn. And then using that one step further, we could give students a home block. If we knew the student name and we knew the student block and knew the student home location, this is what this one allows us to do. So I can't go to Joel's home using blue ice, so it won't teleport me, but it will teleport Joel to his home using blue ice. All right.
Now, obviously, that's going to require you to set up a command block for every student.
Yes. So that's the big con. The big disadvantage. Whereas the advantage of this kind of one here is that quite literally it'll work. So, okay, so is this set up the way I think it is? This teleports me over there, doesn't it? So this was our little test about ticking area. So I've got a piece of lime stained glass over here, right? And if I stand on this lime stained glass and you're over there, I get teleported up. But if you stand on that command block and come over here with me, there you are. And now I stand on this block. You can see nothing's happening.
Yeah, because if I place one and jump on it, nothing's happening.
Because that area is unloaded, we're more than 64 blocks away. Okay, now we didn't set up a command block here to get back.
Where am I going?
Oops, this way. Do you see which way I went?
Come in. I'm following you. I'm following you,
yeah, this way.
I'm following you in turbo mode. I'm going to overtake you. No, I'm not.
So it'll work now again that we're over here. It'll teleport us up because this area is loaded. So I'll set the ticking area. So ticking area, add, and I always add circle because I don't know, because I find that a lot easier. And I just go from where I am right now. The tilde means from where I am right now. And I do a radius of 2. I mean, 2 chunks is 32 blocks square, basically. And then, Joel, you said you name them all the time.
I do, because it just helps me identify if I'm want to remove one, I can remove one by name.
Okay, yep. So I'm just going to call it commands for this one here. And you can see add a ticking area centered at this with a radius of 2 chunks. So now if we both go back over to our other lime stained glass, it'll work again over here because that is now in a ticking area and is always loaded. So that's really the way of getting. It's a really good way of getting students to go home. And as Joel said, the disadvantage is, it's back this way again, Joel. The disadvantage is you're going to end up with a million. Every time a kid gets lost, they're going to put down a lime stained glass, and you're going to have a lime stained glass left in the world, unless you use ice. But if
test that could be fun.
You'd need an air block under the ice. So what my recommendation would be is actually. While we're here, let's do it. We won't actually test it, but I'll explain what we would need. I believe this will work.
All right.
Nope. I believe that would work. Because the torch underneath it should melt the ice block. And maybe not actually. Maybe we need the torch there and the air block there. Because ice doesn't melt into a source block if there's no block underneath it. At least this is Java edition coding, so I could be wrong here, so we'll just let that sit for a while. And in theory,
I'll get the kettle on.
That should melt, yeah. That's assuming fire tick's on.
Yeah, that's not melting.
Allow destructive items is on, so it should work. But anyway, so
Just a thought.
yeah, we'll leave that sitting there for a little bit. So I took your idea one step further the other day, trying to work out a way we could get students back. So we could get students to teleport to spawn to do some work with us, and then teleport back to their home location easily. I failed. But that's just a limitation of the way the game is right now. And we can't work out a way around it yet. So hopefully with some additional coding in the Bedrock code base that EE is based on, we'll get some ways of doing this. But what I did figure out is if a student actually puts an armor stand and names it with a name tag, then they can teleport to that armor stand within about 500 blocks, which I thought was interesting. And I think it'd probably work anywhere now because this is within a ticking area. But you can only have 10 ticking areas per map, and you don't want to have to create a ticking area for each student. But basically what this one here will do is teleport anyone within that red radius, that radius of 2, to an entity by the name Stephen E. Home. Now, there's no other entities in this place with the name Stephen E. Home but this armor stand. So it'll teleport us to the armor stand. And like I say, that what we were trying to do was when you stand on this block here, it sets off a sequence of commands that brings an armor stand that says who it's teleporting and names it and all that sort of stuff. But there's no way of doing that. But this is pretty cool because what it means is a kid can have, or a student, I shouldn't call them kids, a student can have this armor stand in their home, and then teleport to that, or the teacher can teleport them to that using that command, that @e name with their home, at any time. So it's just basically another way of doing it. I was just thinking then you could actually have an animal at your house with a name like that, and it would do the same thing. It's just a matter of having that entity there.
You could create an RNG with that. If you tagged an animal and let it loose, and then had people teleport to a random animal, you could end up with it going all sorts of places in the world as a kind of random number generator.
Yeah, that's actually true. It could be fun. All right, so that's... Oh, this one. This was the one, again, we talked about this a long time ago. We were trying to find strategies for getting kids to go around the place. And I have not set this up, so we get to see on stream how this works. Type item name Stephen. Okay, so I'm going to throw an anvil down here, and I'm going to name something Stephen. All right. Do you want to name something Stephen? Just in that anvil there. Sure. Name something Stephen. Doesn't matter. It can be anything. Yes, with a PH.
Yeah.
So what this allows you to do, and I got this idea from Minecraft Bingo actually for Java. Credit to Lorgan111, Lorgan111 for what he does there. But one thing he's got set up is when you throw the bingo map, you actually get teleported somewhere. So I thought, okay, let's replicate that. So if I throw my ice named Stephen on the ground, I'm going to get teleported. And if you throw whatever you name Stephen, you get teleported. So the way this is working is it's an execute again, so it's looking for something. So execute at an entity, so an entity of type item with the name Stephen at that location. So execute at an entity, find an item that's named Stephen at that location, run the command teleport player up 5. So you'll notice when you threw yours, you got teleported 5 straight up from your location. When I threw mine, I got teleported 5 up from my location. Now, all right, so now I'm going to do, I made this mistake the other day and I said I need you to come and save me. I'm actually going to break that command block. I'll take a copy of it first so we can put it back. Now, throw your item. All right.
Oh, yeah, I'm trapped.
You can't move, okay?
No,
because that item is not dead. So if you make that mistake, which I did the other day, a kill at E with type equals item will get you out of that.
Yeah.
Okay. So that actually, yes. So I made that mistake the other day and regretted it. But that kill item is basically what this second command block does. So as soon as this command picks up that that item is there, this second command block here kills that type of item with the name Stephen. It doesn't kill every item, doesn't kill every entity. It only kills anything with the name Stephen. So that prevents that consistent ongoing teleporting.
Actually, to get back to spawn than the lime glass block solution over here, because with the lime glass block, as we said, you're going to leave lime glass blocks all over the place, whereas this, all I've got to do is just throw the object that's my home block and my spawn block rather, and I get teleported back to spawn, and it kills it for me, so it's not going to leave it lying around on the ground.
The other great thing is if I place these blocks that were called Stephen, they're no longer called Stephen, so it doesn't actually impact on that at all. So same as you. So if you it doesn't actually impact on that. So it is a cleaner, neater way of doing it.
Which means you can still use the block for building, right?
Yes. But you do need to have that second command there for killing the entity. So it's a little bit more tricky. But I think that's as you said, a cleaner way of doing that exact same thing over there. So if you want everyone to go to spawn, you can give everyone a block, give everyone an anvil and say, name it spawn, and off they go.
Yeah. Nice.
And of course, if you want to set one of these up for every student for going to their home location, you can. Again, it's just an array of command blocks, one for each student or two for each student, because you've got to kill the entity.
Can it be misused? Can I stand next to you and throw that?
I
teleports us both.
I don't believe so, because it's set only to teleport the nearest player, and because which will
always be me.
As soon as
that's really good.
Yeah, as soon as you throw. Oh, I just got you to go. Interesting. Yeah, so you can do it.
You did. Yeah.
Oh no, that was me.
Okay.
So there you go.
That was me.
Yeah, if you throw it right in their face, you can get away with it. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Hey, nope, missed. Go in the air. Nope, missed. Anyway.
Hey, well, I wonder if you could do it nearest person with the exclusion donut on it. So limit the radius of it, so you could actually create a game where you have to throw a block at somebody to teleport them somewhere. So I could throw, so it wouldn't affect me, but it'd affect you because you're
okay. So like Spleef in reverse.
Yeah.
Interesting. Mini game. Here I come. Interesting.
Right then.
So this is your neat setup. You showed me this yesterday. Again, we've been playing around with this for months now, and then we keep coming up with these interesting things. So I'm going to have a look.
Dakon Blackrose.
Oh yes, okay, yes.
I saw his YouTube video. If you're interested in command block trickery, then I suggest you follow Dakon Blackrose. He's on Twitter and on YouTube, and he releases almost daily, certainly weekly, command block tutorials. And this is a really nice little one.
Yes.
So
I'm going to look in the chest here, and I've got two blocks. I've got one melon called spawn, and one pumpkin called base. So initially, when you showed us this, we didn't have the red wool, so I've set it up with the location. So let's talk us through it. Talk us through what this does and how it works.
Well, originally Dakon suggested this could be used as a lobby tool, and so when we were first trying it, what you would do is you'd go into the chest, and there'd be a number of different named items in the chest. The first block here, the first command block that I'm looking at, actually clones a chest immediately behind. So your source items are in this chest over here, and that's where you can load up your triggers, if you like. So the command block is repeating all the time, and it's repeatedly cloning this chest. So even if I destroy this chest, you can see there I'm destroying it, and all the contents are coming out, but it's being cloned all the time. So it can't be destroyed, which is a useful feature in itself. and the contents, no matter what I take out of there, constantly regenerate. So you're actually creating replenishing chests. So that's a slightly different tutorial.
Yeah.
But so once I've picked up the items from there, in Dacon's original solution, the minute you pick up the next command block detects to see whether you've got that item in your inventory. And if you do, it then instantly teleports you to a different location and then clears your inventory of said item that you picked up. So this would act like a lobby tool. So again, in your spawn, you might have a chest with 5 different locations you want the students to go and explore, and each item will take them to a different location. They can teleport back to spawn from those locations.
Sorry. I just saw it happen over your shoulder. All of a sudden, the water just went.
The ice block's gone.
The ice block melted. So for the record, it does still create water if there's air block beneath it. So
over time, and then floods your world.
Yes, my apologies for that.
Unintended learning outcome.
Yes. So basically,
we've tweaked it. Yeah, we've tweaked it. So we've put the limiter on it so that it's not when you take the block from the inventory. I've got to actually be holding the block called spawn, which I've got here, which is a melon block. And then I walk to the teleport location, aka Star Trek. And when I'm carrying a melon on that block, it teleports me over to here. But if I'm carrying a pumpkin to the teleport block, which in this case is called base, then it teleports me over there. So I'm teleported to a different location depending on what I'm carrying. And then it removes the items from my inventory to keep it clear.
Yeah. So what I should mention here with these command blocks, and we'll write all these commands, we'll actually have this world available for you to grab, and we'll write all these commands down anyway. But this first one here clones the block 1 block away in the negative on the Z, so clone from 1 block away negative to 1 block away negative on the Z, and it clones that 2 blocks positive Z, which is over to here. All right. This next block says clear the closest player within a radius 0 of the block, 1 in the X, the current Y coordinate, and 2 in the Z. So 1 in the X and 2 in the Z points you over to here. So 1 in X, 2 in Z. And the reason I changed it to a radius of 0 is because it's actually not the block you're standing on that it's looking at. It's actually the block above it. So if you hop out of the way for a second, it's actually looking at that block location there, not looking at the block below. So if you had it as a radius of 1, it would actually teleport you in any of those locations. So I set it a radius 0, so it's only looking at that exact block right there. And it's clearing from the player at that block of a melon. And this is where redstone command blocks get really cool, is you can set this up as a chain block and conditional. So only if it has successfully cleared the melon block from someone will it trigger this command. And that command is to teleport them to an explicit location. So teleport, again, it's that same person. So the player at the block that we're talking about, it's teleporting them to an explicit location. And of course, the pumpkin is the same, in clearing pumpkin instead. And it, again, is a different coordinate set. So what this would allow you to do, so what I had in my head when you showed me this was walking into a room, and whether you have just one chest with, one double chest with, what's this, 27? 27. Whether you had a double chest with 54, or whether you had an array of chests with countless numbers of teleport locations, then they get the location they want to go, they get the set of tools, or they get whatever it is that they need, and then they just come and stand on this block. Now you'll see that if I come and stand on this block, it's definitely not going to take me anywhere because I haven't chosen yet. So if I choose base, hey Matt, how you going? If I choose base, it'll actually teleport me to base when I stand on that block, not before, and not if I don't have it. So basically, this is another way of getting kids to group themselves.
It's worth noting that the names spawn and base that we've tagged the items within the source chest over here are only cosmetic, so that
Yes.
it helps people identify where they're going to go to when they pick up the item from the chest. We did try long and hard that it will only teleport you if you're carrying a melon called base, but because of the way the data tags now work in Bedrock, you can't target a specifically named item to act as the trigger. So it will trigger for any melon. So let me just demonstrate that. If I find a melon, just a plain ordinary melon, hold on, I did have a melon, there we go. So I've got a melon. It doesn't matter what my melon's called. This is just a plain ordinary melon like that. It will still trigger. It's just a melon block that it's working on, not a melon block called base or a melon block called spawn.
Yep, and that was the other issue, and the reason we iterated and put the teleport block here, this red wool, is because if I was using melon, or if I was out in the world and came across melon or pumpkin and picked it up, it'd teleport me.
Yeah.
So we were concerned about having, again, students might want to be able to build with these blocks, and as soon as they put it in their inventory or as soon as they pick it up, they're going to get teleported. Yeah. And that's not what we want. We want this to be clear and normal Minecraft type stuff, with the added bonus of the stuff that we need as teachers to move kids around.
So actually, it could be used as a farming resource. So if you go and gather all the melons, then once you've gathered 20 melons, you could actually, without the clear bit of it, because you don't have to clear the inventory, you could teleport people with melon that way, maybe? Just thinking about a game mechanic? I don't know.
You could, so what I would do, you do have to clear initially. So the initial block is what sets the teleport. So if I clear it, we run the teleport. But then you could also chain a third block here to give those 20 melons back to you.
Or you could just clear one melon.
Yes, and then and return it if you need it or whatever. Yeah,
and then return it if you need it.
Yep. All right.
So, yeah, nice.
All right, one more area to go to, and I'm going to whack this one, which teleports us both over to here. And now we need to be in survival. So just swap yourself over to game mode, survival.
I'm in survival.
This is, again, going to get easier with the next update with scoreboard included, but the same principle will be standard. You know, this is just another way of selecting. So way back, 50 minutes ago, 45 minutes ago, at the initial one, we talked about the selectors and how you can select to teleport students based on their experience level. So if I give myself... I'm going to give myself 3. All right, so I'm going to be in group 3. What group are you going to be
in? I'll just be in group 1.
Okay, so give yourself 1 experience level. So while you're doing that, I can't, because I'm in survival, I can't actually have a look here. But what this is doing is this is using those experience level selectors to choose where we're going to teleport people to. So teleport all players of experience level 1 to experience level maximum 1 to this location. Teleport all players of level 2, maximum level 2 to a different location, level 3 and level 4. Now, I want to note the difference here for these chain command blocks and the chain command blocks we were talking about just previously. These are unconditional. So if we don't teleport anyone in this first command block, if no one is in group 1,
okay, I'll be in group 2.
Okay.
There you go. I'm in group 2 now.
So all right. I will set this to be conditional then, and we'll see what this does. So I'm going to change all of these to be conditional, all these chain ones. What will happen is none of us will get teleported. Because it relies on someone being in group 1. Now that might be useful for you if you need people in each group. But the way we had this set up was to have these as unconditional. because that means regardless of whether the command block before them is successful or not, or whether it teleports someone or not, these will run. So basically with the press of this button, we're actually running 4 command blocks at once. So Joel was talking about stacking command blocks or chaining command blocks earlier. This is basically that. And the same thing, this could be set up in one NPC with these 4 commands listed one below the other, and it would do all 4.
I just noticed something, Alfie. Can you pop back in and have a look at one of the first chain command block and toggle it back from conditional to unconditional again?
Yeah, it changes the texture.
It changes the icon. Yeah, so
Yes.
the texture on the block changes. So very visually, you can see what you've got on
Yes.
your command blocks, whether they're conditional or unconditional.
Yep.
Okay.
All right. So now if we press this button, you and I should go to our groups.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm in blue group, you're in green group.
Yeah.
All right. And to prove that it works, I will take 2 off me if you want to give yourself 2.
Yeah. So
all right, so you're 4 and I'm level 1. That should take us to red and yellow respectively.
Yeah.
I can't say. Oh, there you are. So this sort of setup here will theoretically be usable with Scoreboard when it comes out. I had a bit of a play with Scoreboard in Bedrock the other day because it's in 1.7 Windows 10, and it's going to be really exciting. But again, another way of grouping people and again showing that stacking of commands that you could either do like this here or in one NPC. So we've got, I'm assuming Matt and Lynn still watching us. Any questions there, guys, or any thoughts about situations you might want to talk about how we move people around? Otherwise, we should probably let Joel get back to work because what is it, nearly 12:30 over there?
Yeah.
Just about lunchtime.
Yeah.
And I should say I'm going to grab this video off Twitch, edit it and chuck it up on YouTube and list all these commands and everything, and we'll make the world download available as well. Lynn's just said she loves the ideas. I wonder.
The tag.
I was going to tell you. Let's test it. Name tag. Let's call this name tag Fred. Okay. And I want a few more cows because I've just had a bit of an idea. You were talking about random numbers. Okay, so there's lots of cows that are all going to be called.
I'm just playing around. I want to tag this cow Stephen. Oh, you've tagged him Fred. Okay.
You should be able to tag him over.
Yeah. I've tagged him Stephen, but I thought he was going to teleport up.
Oh,
we haven't got that one set.
no.
I'm just going to see if I keep teleporting him up.
No, because it's set to teleport a player, not an entity. So we could set it.
Yeah.
But if I teleport self to at e name equals Stephen. No, what did I call it? Fred. Not Fred. Fred. Too many targets match selector. There you go. That answers that question.
Yeah.
Can I?
And that's probably going to be too many. Is anything more than one?
Yes. So I had it in my head that I could do it at random name equals Fred. But no targets match because R is for random player, not for random entity.
There is a cow called Stephen if you want to teleport to him.
Name equals Fred. Is this where I stipulate no cows were harmed in the making of this episode?
Yeah.
So TP myself to an entity of name Stephen. So that will teleport me to him.
You found Stephen the cow.
Alright, so that will... Yeah. Interesting. Alright. I've left cow guts everywhere, killing off all the threads. All right, I think we'll call it there. Unless, like I say, you've come up with any other brilliant ideas in the last 24 hours since we spoke last.
No, I'm fresh out of brilliant ideas. I need another to think.
And we will have to do this again. I've got queued up. I've got a couple of ideas. There's another stream coming up on editing villager trades.
Yep.
And setting up trading mechanics like that. And I think once 1.7 or once 1.7 comes to Education Edition, which should be in the relative near future, we'll have to do a scoreboard one and talk about how we rock scoreboard and use that to do things. But I'm calling it, unless there's any more out there. Lynn said, love the ideas, looking forward to seeing the world. Well done, guys. Rip Fred. No cows were harmed, Lynn. No cows were harmed in the making of this.
And probably just a big shout out to all the other mentors. You can do this too.
Yes.
You can make your own videos, you can have your own streams, and you can help contribute to the growing community that is the global Minecraft mentor community.
Yep. And Matt has certainly.
Yep.
So, yeah, Lynn's done a Behind the Blocks with me. Did I tell you about the background of Behind the Blocks? I can't remember.
No. Tell me off stream. That'd be good.
The working title was Under the Bus. Because basically, and I could throw you under the bus right now. Basically, the idea was get on stream live without knowing what topic you're going to have to teach and come up with a map, plan, lesson on that.
Nice.
So do you want to do that now, or you want to go back to work?
Yeah, go on. Throw me under the
bus. Lynn's saying yes, it was scary because Lynn was actually the first one to do it. Well, you're a... What do you teach? You teach... college students.
I teach university staff.
University staff. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. No, I'm not really going to do it. I need to go to bed. It's getting late here, and I've got a big couple of days. We've got the Minecraft Mentor meet up in Melbourne tomorrow night, so that'll be exciting. Hey, look, it still works. Gotta love ticking areas. And there you go. All right, we're done. I might close the screen off there. Thanks for watching, Lynn, Matt, and whoever else might be there. And like I say, we'll have the world download, the commands all listed out, and this video will go up on what's it called? YouTube soon. Yeah. All right. Good night, or good day to you, good sir. Have a nice lunch, and hope the rest of the day goes well. And we'll see you next time.
Yeah. Okay. Catch you later.